this ministry. We thank you for the Messianic believers in Israel, oh God. May you multiply them. And we pray a special anointing on Chaim now, Father, as he shares your word with us, oh God. Quicken it to us, Lord. Excite us, Father. May faith rise in this place. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. What a family. What a family here. It's really, truly is a family. I mean, I just see like the togetherness. And I said, did they put that up there just now? The this togetherness. They said it's always there. And then, and oh, did I turn it off? Oop, maybe I did. Or, you know what? I just need to put it a little closer. There we go. There we go. Yeah, a little closer. Well, it's good to be here. Thank you so much for having me here. It's just a wonderful place. Not my first time here, but my first time here. And just a wonderful, wonderful place. I went trout fishing yesterday, just relaxing, cooked it. It was amazing with the kids, my 3 little kids. And then just today went out and got so much of this cream tea. I don't want to start a civil war here with the jam or the, so, but I did it the right way. Let's put it that way. And and it's just been wonderful. I've been well received. I'm going to try to see if I can find where I've been. So I've just all over the place. I mean, praise God. And I just said, yes, Lord, I'll come. Got the flight, and then with my family. And suddenly it's hey, come to all these places. Okay. Wow, look how many. I mean, it's like 20 places. Bristol, Exeter, Devon, Torquay, Gloucester, just all over, like 20 places. Praise God, because it seems like it is time for the remnant to rally together, for us to come together, and God is gathering.
You need to turn your phone off now. It's in and out online otherwise.
Oh, it is. Oh, is that
Airplane mode or something.
airplane? I see. You guys are top-notch technology. There we go. There we go. We're going for a journey, Yeah. If it's too buzzy, I'll just use this. If it gets too buzzy, don't worry.
It should be fine now. You turn your phone.
Oh, okay. Hello? There we go. So my name is Chaim. The way you say Chaim is, how you say cheers. When you say cheers and you raise a glass, you say l'chaim, to life. To eternal life. And that's my name, Chaim. Can you say that? Chaim? No problem. I'm just believing that right now, this season is not just like any other season. It's a real time that God wants to do something great, both in Israel and here. Now, you turn on your TV, you might say, we disagree. We turn on our TV, we turn on BBC, we turn on Sky News, and we see something different, it seems like. It seems like things are maybe going downhill around the world. Well, at the same time, as darkness increases, the light increases. The light is more seen. That's how it works, And so here I am saying, Lord, is it your will that I come to the UK? Where am I going to go? This place, you might take it for granted, the hope that you feel coming in here. Just everything you see says hope, is hope. We have the hope. We in this room have the hope. Amen. And furthermore, we have the Galilean wedding. That is in a second, but Galilean wedding cup, the elixir of youth, the Holy Grail. We have it. We found it. We found it. But I just thought to show a few pictures. We'll have time for questions at the end, and just show a little bit of what I feel is going on in Israel. You can ask the hard questions. If I don't know the answer, I know I'm standing by some mic. If I don't know the answer, then I won't. Yeah, here. How about this? I'll just use this because I hear the buzz. I hear that buzzing. It's this mic. It's not the phone. Here. How about this? I'll just turn that off here, and we'll put it over here. This is the way. There we go. And we just use this. There we are. Yeah, it's some buzz. I don't know. Not to worry. So I've met a few of you before. Here we go. I've met a few of you. Some of you I'm just meeting right now. So I've met a few in different places. I can do a Mr. Bean act too. So don't put... I've met a few of you in different places, some on a plane, some have volunteered with us. If you have been to Israel, could we just get kind of a gauge? Who here has been to Israel before with a raised hand? Okay, quite a few. This is really like home. I'll tell you what, if you say anything that you know is on God's heart, whether it's family structure, whether it's husband and wife is man and woman, whether it's Israel, you're going to come under some opposition. Have you recognized that? If you're standing for anything that's on God's heart, anything, you're going to come under some opposition. Hey, God knows that, and you have the hope within. So don't worry. We don't need to worry. But now, here I am in the Galilee. That's my house is actually right over. Actually, it's right around here. Just make sure this is on. Yeah, go ahead and click right arrow. Do you see right arrow? Go ahead and click right arrow. There you go. Now it'll work. Boop. No, wait a second. Yeah, let's see. So go. You know what? You see, there's two little. We're gonna stick handle. You see, there's two little arrows here. Right here. Try clicking that for a second. Yeah, right there. See this? Right there. Click that. Good. Now I'm gonna try to click back. I see. Oh, there we go. No, it doesn't seem to work though. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say next because it does not seem to be able to click through. Fun. No, it normally works. In fact, let me test. Hold on. Let's see how close you have to go to get to. No? Okay. No? Okay, there we go. Yeah, so from here it works. Great. From here it works. But here, not. Okay. So you know what I'll do? I'll just say next if I have to. Don't worry. I do think we're together and that we're in a family, though. You see how I stuck these two together? Let's just go next. I put them together because I feel that we're in a family. And so as I'm landing here, I was talking to this guy, and I just said, what do you think about Israel? And you know what? There's people who don't like Israel. There are people who don't like Israel. Don't like the Bible, for that matter. Don't have the hope and don't want hope. There's some. But we happen to know what God's plan is. We know what the future is. That's why I put this here. We happen to know the plan. And if we don't know the plan, well, we're going to know it by the end of tonight. Why Israel? You know what? To answer that, as we're getting started, how about I start with why not Israel? It's not because they deserve anything. Israel does not deserve to have UK embassy move, doesn't deserve to be in the land, doesn't deserve to have a central role in God's kingdom, doesn't deserve anything. Easy. Israel doesn't deserve, well, then again, neither do you guys deserve to be loved by God. We don't deserve anything. And that is a hard word, but it's a true word. We are just loved. He chose to love us, chose to give us. It wasn't like he's looking around the world and saying, you know what? Perfection, I see it. That scone and that is perfection. Perfect. That's why I chose it, because it's so perfect. That is totally not it. You know that. It's not because Israel's so perfect. Next, he just says that he chose. Go ahead, yeah, next. You just go ahead and hit that right arrow. He decided to choose to make a family, including us in Israel, in the Galilee, including you. And his kingdom, really, he's going to rule and reign from Jerusalem. As much as some would want it to be Shanghai or Moscow or anywhere else, New York. It's going to be from Jerusalem. That's what it is. And we can disagree with that. This is just the facts, It's God's plan of restoration and his plan to be a family physically. It's just that simple. Next. And so I was in the duty free, and you know what I realized? I was at the duty free and I realized that's one thing we don't have. We are not duty free. Sorry. Not duty free. We have a duty to our family. We have a duty to God. We have a duty to, our wife or spouse. We have a duty to his kingdom. Well, one thing we're not is duty free. Not duty-free. No. God says you have a duty. He has a duty to us as well. He has a duty to his word. We have a duty to his kingdom. And I just thought it'd be fun. You know this stuff, but I just think it's just nice to take a little moment and do a little reflection on some of the Israel-UK history. And it goes back, 1580s. Christians were here in places maybe right in this barn, I don't know, somewhere around here praying. And after this Protestant Reformation, people started to look at the Bible. They're able to read, not just in Latin, and they start to see, I'm reading, it says here, Israel. So they're like, what? They start to pray for Israel. In the 1580s, I just randomly chose a non-doubting Thomas. This guy here, non-doubting Thomas. Non-doubting. Thomas Brightman, okay? He wrote a book, Shall They Return to Jerusalem Again? That was in 1615, a long time ago, right around here somewhere, maybe down the road. And he wrote this book, another non-doubting Thomas. I just thought it's kind of cool. See some non-doubting Thomas. Corbett, he writes to Napoleon, or Courbet, writes to Napoleon, and he says, hey, you're doing this great campaign. Maybe part of your campaign will be helping the Jewish people with their Aliya. Has anyone heard the word Aliya before? The return. It's what I did as a young child. Okay, and so, but there was all this working together. There was the Balfour Declaration. There was those horses, 1917. You remember all the, what is it called? The New Zealanders, the Anzac, Australia, New Zealander, Army Corps, Anzac. And there they were working together, and an empire, Turkish empire, fell. You had the Royal, who mentioned the Royal, those very Royal Air Force flew over Jerusalem and said, okay, time to surrender. They went low at the command of Allenby. They flew low, 1917, and say, hey, Turkish Empire, that's over now. It's now those setting up a Balfour Declaration to help Jewish people to have a homeland. That's you guys. Wow, I'm very honored. Super honored to be here with you guys. And so you have this whole thing. You have the Jewish Legion, over in what was then called Palestine, over in what used to be Israel. And here serving together, you got the mandate by the League of Nations, of course, San Remo, so on and so forth. Hey, right now, a couple days ago, you have a Israel and UK tech trade and security deal. Yep, which is big working together thing, just signed by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. So I just said, you know what? There is definitely a history. There's definitely a family here. There's definitely a destiny in the Bible. And that's what I want to really focus on. We could talk about politics until the morning dawns tomorrow. We could, talk about military. We could talk about, but we want to talk about God's plan for each of us in his Bible. Next, yes, this is what we're going to do. And, the enemy doesn't like it. You just turn on the news, all you see is, South China Sea, and this destroyer, and that missile, and that, different military things. People just say, we could blow the world up 34 times. Okay, well, we only have one world. So what's the point? That's what we're seeing, but that's not what God's plan is. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. His plan will happen. Go ahead, next. And we're going to be part of it. All right? You're looking around the TVs, what I just was saying, and you're seeing all these nations gathering. What I think is going on, what I believe is going on, is a Matthew 25, verse 32 moment. Because it's not the end of time where nations are suddenly decided upon. They've already made their choice beforehand. Now, sheep nations on the right, goat nations on the left. Sheep nations hear the voice of the good shepherd where he's leading. They even get to be little shepherds, sheep nations, like Peter, little shepherds gathering, Does anyone know how to say, I heard some Hebrew words today. I heard hallelujah, amen, a bunch of Hebrew I heard. Hosanna, I think I heard this. Who knows how to say gather in Hebrew? Gather. Kibbutz. Kibbutz. That's how you say gather. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, those who don't, he says, he who doesn't gather with me scatters abroad. That's what Yeshua, Jesus said. So this is what it is, gathering with him. Okay, he who doesn't gather with me scatters abroad. It's a Matthew 25, verse 32 moment now. I believe this. I believe this. It's time to make a choice now. It's not chosen at that time. Next. It's chosen right now. So there's a destiny. Next. And next, go ahead. Yeah, there's a destiny that we're all in. So I was reading this. This kind of encouraged me. You are a people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you out of all the people on the face of the earth to be his people, his treasured possession. Next. But it's not that, it's not it. It is not because we were more numerous than the other peoples or better, but because the Lord loved you. That's what I said. We don't deserve anything. But he decided to keep the oath that he swore to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, when he brought us out with a mighty hand and redeemed us from the land of slavery. When did that happen? Who knows? When? Yeah, well, we were freed from slavery, yes. And when were we, as just Jewish people, taken out of Egypt? There's a holiday that talks about it. Next, Passover. Next, Passover is the holiday. Next is the holiday where there's also a spiritual significance for that. Does anyone know when Passover is? Right now, in just a few days. That's right. Now is Passover. Now is a time when God did such amazing things. But what did Pastor Nigel just read earlier? He said, there's coming a time where we're not just going to say, wow, we came out of Egypt, but you brought us from the land of the north, Ukraine and Russia. There's actually more Russians sometimes that are coming. It's interesting running a charity where I welcome everyone. You're Russian? You're Ukrainian? Okay, well, here's your Hebrew school. No fighting allowed. This is Israel. No fighting allowed. This is Israel. There is definitely a spiritual application of this freedom from bondage, and it's not just for us. Well, what's that? There's this UK man from the UK, and he's on a spaceship called the USS Enterprise, and Star Trek, and what's his name? This guy, he's a UK gentleman. Scotty. Yes, the UK gentleman. Now, why didn't God just do this UK thing and transport everyone automatically? What is it called? Transport us. He transported Philip. Why didn't he just transport us out of Egypt into Israel? Done. Because he wanted to bless Africa. He wanted to take down those gods. Oh, you think Pharaoh's actually a god? Like God? Oh, now he's drowned. You think that the Nile, this is a river. Nile means river. That's not a god. Now it's blood. He wanted to teach the continent of Africa who's really God. Guess what? Not only that, we crossed into the promised land 40 years later on Passover. Guess what we had to do? Oh, you want to kill a child to Molech? No. That's not, judging Molech. So that is how much God loved and wanted to change the world on Passover. Change the world on Passover. Not just help us out of slavery. Next. So I think it's really cool that it's Passover right now, so I can put a little Passover theme for you guys. Romans 11, verse 29. God's gifts and his call are true until 1992. Is that what it says? They were true, but now there's nothing you can do. Is that what it says? Irrevocable? What? That's awesome. That is great. It means not able to revoke it. True until 1992, and then there's nothing you can do. That's not the facts. Okay, his promise over, I believe, now I'm going to propose something here. His promises even over the UK are true. Because the UK is in the Bible. Did you know that? In the Hebrew scriptures. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it to you in a bit. Good. Well, I'm glad I can show you something. Okay, I don't know if you ever look at your clock and you see 11:11. Happens to me all the time. Just interesting. But my father-in-law is driving down the road, and he's in that UK place called Canada, and he's driving along, and then suddenly he's like, hey, Lord, I know you have a plan for Israel. Do you want me to be part of this plan somehow? Want me to do something for you? I'll do it. Just show me a sign. He's driving, and he sees license plate ROM 1111 in front of him. This was like 30 years ago. And he says, I better just, at the red light, he just, let me see, what is that? ROM, is that a book? Romans. Okay. 11 verse 11. And what does it say? Maybe you want to read it. Romans 11 verse 11. I see you're already there. That's awesome.
Have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid. But rather, through their fall, salvation has come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy.
Salvation came to England. Why again? Salvation came to England to provoke them to jealousy. To provoke Israel to jealousy? Is that what it says? To the nations, to provoke Israel to jealousy. Well, okay. All right. How are you doing that? How are you busy doing that? This is good. I'm glad to hear that. Next. That's exciting. Romans 11:11. He changed his whole life. He says, I'm going to go to Ukraine. I'm going to go to Belarus. I'm going to go help. When the Soviet Union fell, I'm going to help rescue them. And he did. He got these buses, and he's helping to rescue Jewish people that had no money to even for a bus fare. And he helped them to come to Israel, and it was amazing. I ended up marrying his daughter. That's my father-in-law. I'll tell you more about that in a second. Next, what about the UK? There are 700 promises about the return of the Jewish people to Israel. Did you know that? If you hear a sermon and someone says, here Yeshua is saying, verily, verily, I say to you. Oh, he's putting an emphasis there. What if he says verily 700 times? Probably might matter. 700 times. It's true. Just as true as John 3:16 is, I will gather you, I'll bring you back. Now, someone asked me, Chaim, why is that? Why do you think God puts these scriptures out there? 700 of them. It's kind of a lot. And I said, the only thing I can think of is maybe it's like a welcome party. Have you ever landed in an airport, and someone says, hey, welcome home, glad you're here? The way we say that in Hebrew is what we sang, Baruch haba b'shem Adonai. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. But isn't that great? Hey, welcome home, glad you're here. That is what I think this is all about, is a welcoming party. So simple as that. A welcoming party in Israel for Jesus' return to this world. And it's in the Bible 700 times. I mean, next, you're going to see it when you start to read this, you're going to be surprised. So next, when our identity is under attack, you know what? Next, it's hard. Some people are saying like, next, I was reading in this and I said, I see some churches are flying these rainbow flags. Maybe they are reading this only part of the verse. Perhaps. It's good to read a whole verse, though. I'm just going to throw that out there. There is neither Jew nor Gentile. If we stop there, that would look like, that's only part of a verse, though. Neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female. You could stop right there. Get out some rainbow flags. We could, right? However, let's read the rest of the verse before we. You are all one. Oh, unified. You are one in Yeshua the Messiah. Galatians 3:28. You are all one. You know, a husband and a wife can be one. Religion wants us to be uniform. The Holy Spirit wants us to be unified. Big difference, though. One is uniform. You know what a uniform looks like? It's like it looks the same. Uniform, and the Holy Spirit wants us to be unified. A husband can be different than a wife, and they can still be unified. They can be one, unified. Next. So there's definitely different roles and stuff, like it says here. By the way, I baptized 1,000 people plus in this Jordan River. Next time you come, you want to do a little rededication? Come on. It's great. Next. My house is just up the hill, Jordan River. So here's what it is. Just as a body, though one, has different parts. I mean, you know this, but it's fun to do a little refresher, right? But all the parts form one body. So it is in the Messiah. So we are. We are all baptized by one Spirit, so to have one body, whether we're Jews or Gentiles, from the nations or from Israel. Slave or free, we all have one Holy Spirit. Next, isn't that cool though? Look at that. That was after Jesus rose to heaven, and Paul writes this and says, yeah, there's definitely things I'm doing in different places, and I have chosen the UK, I believe, for something great. A Cyrus call, as it were, something great. Next, the Commonwealth. Who knows more about Commonwealth than you guys in this room? You know, you wrote the book on Commonwealth, and he's got a Commonwealth next, a Commonwealth of Israel, and it's really exciting because we are together in this Commonwealth of Israel. Before, we were without Messiah, being strangers from the Commonwealth of Israel and from the covenants of promise, having no hope. But now we're together in this Commonwealth. Pretty cool, right? Next, now I'm going to just do a quiz for you real fast here. Quiz, make sure everybody's on the same page. What does heaven look like? Just throw anything out that you think heaven looks like. Anything. Streets of gold. Yes. Now for another 10 quid. No. What? Anything. Incredible beauty. Yes. Fellowship with the Lord. Yes. But what is the main thing you see? The main kind of very main thing you see? Presence of God, yeah. Next. Yeah, but the okay, next. You see 12 gates, and at the gates, 12 angels, and on the gates, the names of 12 tribes. You're going to see Manasseh. You guys want to get coffee over at the Zebulun gate? Yes, I like the Zebulun gate. You want to go to the Judah gate? Judah? Yeah. We'll fly over there. Okay. So you're seeing the 12 tribes, names of 12 tribes of Israel, over top the gates. Of course, you guys know or may not know, this is Jerusalem today, not the heavenly Jerusalem. They blocked it up. Yeah, you see, they blocked it up because this is called the Gate Beautiful or the Eastern Gate, the Golden Gate. It's got like 3 names. And this is the one that is promised in the Bible, in the prophecies, that the Messiah is going to walk right through there. And they're like, oh, he's a holy man, so we're going to put graves over here. This is the Muslims. But we're going to put graves here, and he can't go on graves because a priest can't go by a graveyard. Well, if they're resurrected, and plus I don't think these rocks are going to be too much of a trouble. But the important thing is it's good to say, man, I know, I got a vision of heaven. Got Manasseh, Asher, the tribes, 12 tribes. Next. So this is where we're headed, This is where we're headed is to that reality, 1,000 years. Now, I believe that the stewardship that we display in this world, in this time, the stewardship, displacing principalities and advancing the kingdom, whatever sphere that we've advanced in this life, I believe that's what we'll steward in the millennium. That's what I believe. It's going to be our little kingdom under the great king, where we've displaced the enemy and advanced the kingdom. But here's some of my kids. Actually, I have one more. That's not a tattoo. She didn't tattoo her own name on her. Deanna, she's over there. They were going to come tonight, and then, anyway, he said, oh, I have a tummy ache. But so Matia, and then Hadar, and me. Next, there's more kids. But anyway, now you see what we look like. Here's where we live. This is like a little introduction now, introduction time. Here's where we live. Next is in the Galilee, Sea of Galilee. Highest chance, by the way, percentile of successfully walking on water. Sea of Galilee. Yeah, the most people in history have succeeded successfully to walk on water. The largest amount of humans. Largest. You can put all the bodies of water in a graph, and you have like a straight line. Okay, that's a graph joke. Okay, so here we are, is 29 out of 34 miracles happened at at the Galilee. So now I'm zooming into Israel, you know what I mean? We're not just looking at the whole Israel, looking at the north part where we live. And I'm making another proposition that God starts his plan of redemption in the Galilee, and it'll culminate in Jerusalem. I'm going to start where our charity is, culminate in Jerusalem. That's what I believe. And this is called the Galilee of the nations. And there's going to be a bunch of nations working with the Galilee of the nations, and it's going to culminate in Jerusalem. Next, and the miracles are going to coming back too. But so Isaiah 9 says something really interesting. It says, this place that was in contempt, what good can come from Galilee? Chaim, you seem like you have a degree and you're a sergeant major in the army, and what are you doing in the Galilee? You know, you seem pretty intelligent. You want to be, what good can come from Galilee? Some people tell me that today. Interesting. Okay, he says, this place that was in contempt, this place that was in darkness, I will shine a great light there. In fact, in the Hebrew says the light touches upon them. Next. In the Galilee. Go to the Galilee, there you will see me. Remember these verses? Disciples, I just got out of the grave in Jerusalem. Now go to the Galilee, there you will see me. See, why did he do that? Why didn't he just say, okay, I'm out of the grave, all right, I'm going to fly to heaven now, and you men of Galilee, go to the Galilee. Just an interesting little principle. This is where the first, not only Jesus chose his team, but the first agriculture, Ben-Gurion, our prime minister, plants the first trees in the modern Israel, after you guys helped us get started. The first factories, the first army training, thank you again, with Ord Wingate from here, helped us get started. Next, so it all started in the Galilee, you see. And now it's Galilee round 2. We're back. The Galileans are back. Galilee round 2. And there isn't a round 3, I don't believe. It's just now. This is it. This is the moment to shine together. Next, this is the Galilee. I'm doing a new thing. Do you not perceive it? So now going back to UK for a second, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people praying, maybe in this barn, maybe over in there or there. I wouldn't be standing here now. Israel wouldn't be there if it wasn't for praying people. And of course, this word, Zionism, biblically, just means one who wants to follow the prophecies in the Bible. The biggest Zionist, 150 times it says the word Zion in the Bible, and it just means God wants to fulfill his word. Gather the Jewish people home to the land of Israel. Next, and this was way before there was Jewish people. Just keep skipping forward. You see some of these heroes. Go ahead, next. Next, what's different than these heroes and you guys? Nothing. You're the heroes of today. And this Spurgeon wrote this. There will be a political restoration, like a nation to their own land. 34 years before the Jewish people actually we always say, next Passover, next year in Jerusalem, right? We always say that. Next year in Jerusalem. Should we actually go, though? I'm talking way back in the day. Oh, no, we just say that. Next year in Jerusalem. But literally, the Christians were like, no, it's time. And I appreciate that a lot. Next. So here's what it is. Is these heroes, next, even some Scottish people. Let me try. Reverend Robert Murray McChain. Next. I can't do it so well, but. So here's what it is. 10 years ago, it's been 10 years, is that we felt this call to move to the Galilee. Of course, I myself was born in the United States. Family in the history ran from persecution, saw this Ellis Island, this lady with the little fire and the little scales or whatever, weigh scale. Ellis Island, New York, the refuge of Jewish people. So family runs there. My dad grew up there. He studied in the yeshiva, went to the synagogue. And he says, one day we're going to live in Israel. One day we're going to go. And I remember, I make a long story short, and I remember saying, now Jesus, tell me again, he's from Israel? He's Jewish, like he just lived in Israel his whole life. Yes. Yes, he did. But did he say like, no, I'm turning away from Israel? Or no, oh, he's weeping over Jerusalem and just saying, how I long, but I'm going to come back when you say, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. He's got a plan. He didn't come to cancel that plan. Interesting. I end up giving my heart to the Lord, surrendering to the Lord as my Savior. Eventually, my dad says, look, we're going to make Aliya any day now. He would just say that. I'm like, when are we going to make Aliya? And so I thought, what we'll do? I'll go and get sheep's wool. I'll take a little buzzer and go zzz, and get some sheep's wool from the local farmer. This is in America. Put it outside. If it's wet, everywhere else is dry, we'll make Aliya. Or if it's dry, everywhere else is wet. And my dad said, just don't worry about that. We'll ask the Lord for a sign. He'll give us a sign, and we'll go. So we go to a meeting, this kind of meeting, and it was in actually not too dissimilar to this. It was kind of like an old farmhouse type place. So we go in there. In walks a man with long white hair, long white beard, and he says, I've come here with a sign for a family of 8. The father's got a big black beard, like down to here. And it's a sign about Aliya. And the father's name's Reuven, my father, Reuven. And so, what? And he said, yeah, can you come to the front? Can you come? So we go up to the front. My dad holds out his hands, a little bit worried. What's going on here? Hold out your hands. He does. And this man, Zebulun, he puts a satchel of gold coins in my dad's hands. He said, this is a sign. This is Aliya gold for you guys. Aliya gold. We said, what in the world? My dad said, that's our sign, guys. We're going to Israel. So we show up in Israel, and we realize the hard part isn't getting on a plane. The hard part really is living there. How do you read these block letters, Hebrew? How do you live there? How do you survive there? And so how do you actually get a job? I mean, you have to train for the army. It's a different world, in short. So we get there, and I'm working as a carpenter, and this call comes upon my heart. I feel I want to do something really for God. I want to do something, not just earn money. I could just do that in America. I want to do something for God. And I talked to my wife's father, and she says, my father read that license plate. Remember that thing? Read this license plate, 1111. And he's helping Jewish people, but they end up struggling so much they get very depressed. Many leave Israel. It's like too hard for them to live there. And so I went and I talked to him. I said, look, let's start a place that can help these guys to be established. So we decided to set out 10 years ago to make a Aliya return center. And I remember saying, okay, so how much money do you have? He says, I have 0. What about you? I'm a poor soldier. I have nothing. Let's put God to the test. It's God's will. It's God's bill. Have you seen that to be true? If it's his vision, it's his provision. You've seen it to be true. We've seen it to be true. It's a true thing. Where he leads, he feeds. So we took on a $5 million big project. And that's what it looks like. Let's see if I can point at this. And in the last bunch of years, we were able to transform this place, and we didn't get actually any money from Israel, all from people around the world. And there was the prayer house. We didn't finish that yet. There's the agricultural school, the housing, multi-residence for families, multi-residence for immigrants that are not married, pre-army training for Arabic speakers and Hebrew speakers together. We never got to these 3 yet. Next, I could go on and show you, but it really was quite amazing. Just keep going. Next, he just showed up here too. We could talk about that later. Next, we do housing in Tiberias along the shores of the Sea of Galilee. Next, we do, you'd be surprised how many people come and they need food. They just need some food. From Ukraine, Ethiopia. But, I'm going to try to imitate you. But Chaim, aren't Jewish people all very rich? Well, no. Have you seen someone from Ethiopia with a Tom Sawyer, that's all they have is some little clothes on their back. People sometimes come from even Brazil. There's from some slums. Have you seen from Ukraine, their bank card won't work. They don't have a bank anymore. People are in need. Have you seen my bank account? Some Jewish people don't have money, okay? Next, so we're able to give them food. It's exciting, and they're just so happy. Planting trees next, giving housing to those who come, and everyone has to serve in the army. The boys 3 years, the girls 2 years, have to serve. And so if they don't have family, they could just stay in there, they could just sit there in the army base, or we want to give them a place to be able to rest, relax, enjoy, play some guitar with them, It's really nice. And next, so these are things that have developed kind of a bunch of stuff. They need Hebrew next. If they don't have Hebrew, they can't do anything. There's these very, very skilled surgeons from Ukraine. They said, we're not running from the war, we're making our immigration. Big difference. We're here to live, just like you, to be a citizen like you, Chaim. We are expert surgeons. Okay, בבקשה, אתה רוצה לנתח? תנתח, תחתוך. Я не знаю, говори по-русски. You can't, no. You have to learn Hebrew first, you see? You can't just, they're almost like little babies when people come, and we're able to help them. People just need clothes. Next. People need the basic things. Teach a man to fish in the Galilee. We connect them to factories, and it's great. Next. I never thought I'd be doing this whole thing. Next. I never thought I'd be part of all this, because I'm a worker. Let's see if this will work. We'll try to see if you can hear this, and it's a little video telling about what Aliya is.
While at the same time educating nations from across the globe to the biblical significance of supporting Aliya and being trained as ambassadors for Israel, practically applying the prophetic scriptures. Throughout the years as a charity, we've been able to help thousands of immigrants return and be integrated into this land by providing them complimentary lodging and a whole lot more. To find out more and to participate, go to aliyareturncenter.com today.
Next, yeah, so that was, I can do it faster if you'd like. That was pretty fast. But here's what it is. Life in Israel is challenging. You could just go ahead and take out the word problem from your vocabulary. With God, there's no problems. There's just challenges and opportunities for redemption. Opportunities where he wants to redeem something. He's got a plan to redeem someone or something. He's a redeemer. So there I am in Israel, and who here believes that this is a true statement? Psalms 121 verse 4. Behold, he that keeps Israel shall not slumber nor sleep. Do we believe that? Okay. So we have some tunnels. You need to go in these tunnels now then. We'll sign you up. We're going to go defend the defenseless in the tunnels from the explosive tunnel threat. We got to do it. Next, this is what I have to do. It's one thing to believe it and one thing to actually have to go inside these scary tunnels. This is what I do in the army. This is my unit. Those are armored cars. They're pretty big, actually. So we have to dismantle them. It's pretty scary. Next. And so what we're seeing is that you have to trust God. And when they say, go call your family now, go call your family and say, hey, how's it going? I had a good day. All right, bye now. And then I said, again, why did you want me to call them? They said, oh, because you may never talk to them again. That's why. But you can't tell them where you're going or something. But, okay, have a good day then. All right, bye-bye. It becomes very real. The Bible becomes very real. Everything becomes very real when you're in Israel. Say you're a new immigrant. You have to prepare for your service. You have to be, it's so great when people like you are able to lend a hand to those, to comfort those who are just new and they don't have anything. They just don't know what life is. And when you guys come and show that you care, they are just so moved, for real. Of course, we have a little congregation next. I was ordained there. It's this little place. It's a wonderful little place. It feels similar to this. It's just like a home next in the Galilee. And next, so here's what it is that Arabic and Jewish sons of Abraham are part of the plan. Some people think, oh, if I love Israel, maybe I don't love Arabic people. That's not true. He loves all his children. They're also sons of Abraham. You remember how there was Keturah, there was Hagar. Yeah, these are, and then you have Ishmael, and so. But here's what I was telling you at the beginning, is that he wants both the Arabic speakers and the Hebrew speakers. He wants all people to take hold of the Galilean wedding cup. Who here knows what that is? Yes. So how does that go? Have you heard of that?
Isn't it when the part of betrothal?
Yes.
The bridegroom offers one cup first.
To the Father. Correct. Well, I'll refresh it. I did this actually, the ancient tradition. So you go and you take a cup, and you go to the Father, and you put a cup before a father, and you say, here's the cup. And he says, okay, I knew this day was coming. Which daughter are you interested in? Like, well, the middle one. Okay, what are we talking bridal price? In the ancient way is the guy has to pay it in the ancient way. We're talking 40 camels? Well, I was thinking 20. Okay, all right, what about, whatever. You discuss bridal price. We did this, my father-in-law and I. We did this, Galilean wedding cup. And then we go together once he says, I agree to that. He takes a sip, I take a sip. Then we walk over to the daughter, put it before her, and then she'll go ahead and she can say, not interested. Or she'll say, like Deanna did, that what happened now? A covenant has happened. A covenant. Yeah? And then my job is go prepare the house. I have to go, and the father is going to be my inspector, building inspector. So I go and I build, and he says, you know what, I think you need another window. We need some more lighting in here. And so I'm like, okay. And then, maybe a porch, whatever. Until the father feels it's ready. That's how it is in the Galilee, at least historically. Feels the house is ready. And meanwhile, she's, how hard it is to weave a wedding dress from like a loom? You get the sheep's wool and you're spinning that, making these threads, and then, weaving a wedding dress. Then you got to actually make sure there's oil in the lamps just in case. Then finally the father says, I think it's ready. I think the house is ready. Let's go. But it's the middle of the night. You want to get married now? You can get married now. You can wait till tomorrow, whatever you want. Okay, let's go now. So then you go. Does this sound familiar to you at all? It's an ancient tradition, but it's actually what Jesus did on Passover. This is what he did on Passover, which is now. This is this time where he's like, and I'm raising this not just to the Galileans. I'm raising it to all people, both Arabic, Hebrew speakers, to everybody right here in the UK. Everybody can have access to this cup if they want. It's the Holy Grail. Remember that UK man in the movie called Indiana Jones? And he's guarding this, cup. Okay? That thing, that Holy Grail, that Cortez, that elixir of youth, that is the Passover third cup of Passover. Cup of redemption. It's that Passover Grail for all who believe, the cup of immortality. So we have this, and it was given to us right now. Okay, so I really feel that right now is a special time where we can remember, man, we have this cup. Have you taken a sip of this cup? Some call it communion. Maybe you've heard of it in that name. This Galilean wedding betrothal cup. I would not be surprised if we get to heaven, and have you seen in a wedding where the guy did this, where you put the cup and you'll step on it and you're like, this is it. It's sealed forever. Yay, dance. Yeah. So I would not be surprised if Yeshua in heaven does this. Hey, if it happens, you'll be like, Chaim, the cup, and you step on it, and that's how we do it in the tradition. Next, the Galilean wedding cup is a Passover cup. That's now. That's the Passover dinner right now. Next. So I'm going to read to you the UK. Let's just go ahead and read. Oh, I put it on a UK flag. You see that? Maybe you could read it with me. This is the UK in ancient prophecy. Isaiah chapter 49, verse 1. This is Isaiah. Listen to me, United Kingdom. See that? Hear this, United Kingdom. See? Next. Can you read that? Next. This is what the Lord says. I will lift up my hand to the nations. That includes the United Kingdom. Raise up my banner to the peoples, and they will bring your sons in their arms and carry your daughters on their shoulders. That's Isaiah 49 we're talking. Next, it says islands though. Oh, it looks to me that that is directly talking about the UK. It's an island. It's a coastland, it also says. Listen, heed me, O coastlands, it says. Okay? You're gonna bring the Jewish people in your arms and carry them on your shoulders to Israel. That's called Aliya. Like Ruth did with Naomi. Do you know the story of Ruth? So it's really cool, that whole story, because Naomi says, I'm changing my name. I'm so depressed. I'm so bitter. I'm going to change my name to bitter. You're going to change your name to bitter? And what it used to be, Naomi means like peaceful, Noam, pleasantness. You're going to change it to bitter. Yeah, I'm depressed. I'm going to make Aliya now. And then she goes to one Orpah, goes to Orpah. Hey, you enjoy your life now. Okay, you too, bye. And then of course you have Ruth. Okay, bye to you as well. Now get out of here. Now get. And he says, no, don't tell me to get. No, where you go, I'll go. Your God will be my God. Your people, my people. Where you go, I'll go. And there will I be buried, So serious stuff. Next. That is super special. Now, just click next for a while. And I just wanted to show you next some interesting things relating to the UK and Israel. Again, next. Because this helped us to be where we are today. Next. You remember the Royal Air Force flying over right on this date, actually, as well. Next. It's just awesome. Some heroes right here. Next. Next. Who's this Christian guy right here? Oh, that's right. Next. Why isn't he riding in? Next. Because he's cool. Because he's a Christian. Next. I don't want to talk about all this next, but you guys know the history. So, you know how the World War, it's a great name, Chaim Weizmann, our first president. Next. Great name. You remember he invented this. He helped win the war. Next. Working together is what I'm talking about, working together. But it's our turn now. It's our turn. Next. Okay, who's this? Who's this guy? If you said Boy George, wrong. If you said Lloyd George, correct. For 10 quid. Okay, how much? I lost track of how much money. Okay, he says, yeah, I've read the Bible. I've been in Sunday school. I know that God's restoring Israel. I know what God's doing. I want to be part of it. I want to be a hero of our time. And come on in here, Foreign Secretary. Oh, yes, come on in. What's your name? Balfour? Write this declaration. Sir, do you mean a homeland for the British? No, write homeland for the Jewish people. But, sir, okay, I'm bad at accents. Next. But you get how cool this is? This right here is going to be, who here has seen Back to the Future? There's a guy with white hair called the Doc. Okay? What does he have? An almanac. This is your almanac. This is the plan for the future. The almanac, Marty. This is the almanac. Okay? This is for real. It's supposed to be fun. When we're serving God, it's also supposed to be fun. But this is the almanac because you know what? The great physician prescribes one a day, taken in the morning with water for a healthy prophetic lifestyle. I just read one today. I just read that Isaiah chapter 49. But what about Jeremiah 32, verse 41? Let's just say. 32, verse 41. I will plant them in the land with all of my heart and all of my soul. Show me one thing he'll do with all his heart and all his soul in the whole Bible. Nothing. Just planting them in the land with all his heart and all his soul. Isn't that amazing? Next, planting them in the land. Next, with all his heart and all his soul. Now, some people say, but Chaim, if you're talking about history of U.S. and you're talking about U.K. and Israel, and you're talking about this togetherness, well, do you know about the white paper of 1939? Next, just get ready to click fast. Next, do you know about next how that was, they ended up going, the synagogue in Hull, England, next, in the north. You remember about, and they had to get stuck on these ships, next, and they thought they were coming to the promised land, next. You know, look at that Jewish state. They thought they're coming to the Jewish state. 95 ships, say 1,000 per ship, 95,000 next, or something, I don't know how many. Ended up going back. They tried to go to St. Louis. America didn't let them in either, next. I guess the question is, and then the white paper was that moment where the pound was losing its value around the world in all the places like Singapore and Hong Kong. And next, hey, the question is, does God know about it? And here's why I wanted to come and talk to you, because does God know about this? Yes. Look at Peter. Remember Peter in John 21? And he had denied him 3 times. And there he goes. And he goes fishing. You remember that? He's fishing. Then John sees him on the shore. He's cooking fish, just like I did yesterday. Right over here in Byberry. Cooking fish. Okay, and so then he says, it's the master. Cast the net on the other side, he tells them. Cast the net on the other side. They go ahead and they catch a great catch of how many fish? 153. Very good. 153 fish. And then he goes and talks to Peter and says, Peter, do you love me? Then feed my sheep. Be a shepherd. Be a sheep nation. Be a shepherd. Gather. He who gathers not with me scatters. Come on. Lost sheep of Israel it's also Jewish people too, And then the second time, hey, Peter, do you love me even? Yes, then feed my sheep. He didn't say, well, Peter, you know what? You messed up. So I was going to say upon this rock, but I was going to build my church. And now I'm just going to do something different, because that's not how the Lord is with us, is he? It's not how God is with us. He puts a mantle on people, and he stands with his word and his promises. And I believe there's a mantle on the UK, like a Cyrus-type mantle. Okay? Third time, he says, Peter, do you love me? And then Peter was very grieved. Remember the third time? Very grieved. Because he just denied him 3 times. But the plan was on. And he's like, all right, we're going to change the world. Let's do it. Let's do it. Now, Israel, there's a lot of people who say, you know what, Chaim, I think God's maybe done with Israel. Just done. They had their chance. They messed up. Look, these people are a mess. Have you watched on the news? They're a mess. And they're not wrong. Okay. Well, I think God's done with UK. I think God's done with my Aunt Cindy. Yeah, have you seen her? My Aunt Cindy? She puts the jam first on it, or whatever. Okay? Where do they get the permission to say that kind of stuff? Is that really what God is? Is that God's real truth? I think God's done with, no. That's not how mantles work. That's not the facts. Okay? Through their fall, salvation came to the nations to provoke them to jealousy. Talks about life from the dead in verse 15 next. Talks about exciting things on the way. It really does. Next, so we read that he wants you guys to carry the Jewish people in your arms and on your shoulders. The islands. You're an island. Yes? We're in this time of Passover. I'm kind of now summarizing everything. Now. We're in the time of Passover. What is Passover time? Protection. Okay? A friend of mine, I'm not going to go into this. It's too much for now, but there's protection for not only them, but all those who stand together for his covenant promises. Next, the Lamb's blood. There's Charlton Heston over there, and and you've got this. When did this happen? This is a Passover miracle. Next, you know what else? Oh, The crossing of the Jordan River. Remember that river I showed you near my house? These guys had to take a step of faith. It happened on Passover. I don't know if you knew this. On Passover, we celebrated a Passover right on the other side. Crossed above the Dead Sea, which is going to be fresh next. This happened on Passover, and I told you about the Galilean wedding cup happened on Passover. Josiah, age 8, on Passover, he goes and kicks out the false gods, tears down, he cleanses the land. But there's something we got to do. We have to be ready to be unleavened. Yes. Joshua says, hey guys, it's almost Passover. Prepare yourselves. We're crossing over. And when they weren't ready, they had to go for 40 years. You know, we had to go for 40 years. We weren't ready for that time. I think there's a chance here. There's a time here now. And that's why I'm here, because I'm really excited about this time where enemy gets displaced and the kingdom advances. Next. We got to look like this. Matzahs, unleavened. This is the Passover, you know. But that's us, though. That's us together on the betrothal. Next. And we're headed for a wedding in heaven. Next. Let's read it. Next is, this is the blood of the covenant, he says on the Passover dinner, right? In a few days. Poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink this fruit of the vine from now on until the day when I drink it anew with you in my Father's kingdom. Controversial statement. It's not controversial statement. It's not the gospel of prosperity. It's not the gospel of deliverance. These are all parts of. It's not the gospel of salvation. It's not the gospel of salvation. You have to be saved to get in the kingdom. It's the gospel of the kingdom. That's what it says. The gospel of the kingdom. It's a kingdom. It's got Jerusalem. It's got a lot of things in the kingdom. Salvation's how you get in. Okay, it's how you get in the kingdom. But then you got to go and learn about the kingdom. That's what I'm talking about. The kingdom of God, Commonwealth of Israel. This is the gospel of the kingdom. Next, he really wants this moment, even more than we want it. Yeshua wants this moment. He says it. I long for this moment. Next. And next. So with wrapping this whole thing up there is a coming out of a house of bondage. House of bondage. And I mean, if we're talking spiritual, then okay. Hey, what we're going to do is we're going to go on a fast. We're going on this fast, starting with Passover, all the way up to Pentecost. So there's this. And if you want, you could join us even just for the May 7th to May 28th. We've started to put this out there. Whoever wants to join us for a special fast, anything you want to fast from. It could be fast from bubblegum. It could be fast from TV. It could be a Daniel fast. But it's a time where people are starting to join us. Guess how many people have decided to join this call to fast for just the Daniel May 7th to May 28th to Pentecost? How many people? Just any number. 30,000, nice. Little more. It's 4 million people have decided to join, are going to be fasting and praying for Israel. Fast at least 1 hour a day, praying and worshiping. 1 hour a day, commitment. 1 hour a day, praying for God's will to be done in Israel. May 7th to May 28th. So I said, man, it is a time. It's a special time. Not just like every other Passover. Next. And so I'm just going to show you one more video about what we're doing over there. And
Shalom, friends from all over the world. I am a Jewish, Israeli, Galilean, and soldier here in the land of Israel. So I'm Chaim, been here with the Aliya Return Center Registered Charity. We are a charity based in the Galilee with operations throughout the land of Israel. We act as a central distribution hub of goods for immigrants and the needy in Galilee. But as we supply other organizations, we're making an impact throughout Israel, providing aid in the form of goods. We also deliver directly where needed to the new immigrant families' homes. As a charity, we have a few different projects going on, including but not limited to a lone soldier houses. Like, this is multi-residence for these young people who come, make Aliya, and have no family to cook for them, clean for them, and really love them while they're defending the defenseless on the front lines. And it's called the Upper Room. We have, of course, Livracha, meaning to the blessing. It's a free clothing distribution center. Looks like a storefront right in downtown Tiberias. And as part of our ongoing work to help those who made Aliya from the Holocaust years and years ago, we see that they're still in need. And as they are in need of food parcels, we're able to give them more as we expand even to other cities like Nazareth and Afula. And of course, these golden galas where they get rings, and the gold continues to be given by wonderful people from all over the world. We continue to be able to host these banquets, these golden galas. What a blessing it is. We have various housing for Aliya. We're honored to provide new immigrants complimentary, short-term, free initial housing in various gorgeous locations throughout the Sea of Galilee region, and of course give them the supermarket gift cards to help them with all their immediate basic food and personal needs. We provide an Ulpan, that's a Hebrew school, in full partnership with the Ministry of Aliya, absorption of the government of Israel, and here at the shores of the Sea of Galilee also have our new offices that we've opened thanks to the support of friends of Israel from throughout the world. There's also the job training classes for the new Olim immigrants, where they not only receive these nighttime training classes, but they're aided in job integration process. Every participant gets placed in a guaranteed job to honorably feed their family. Our main goals are to see the attachment, integration, really the establishment of the Jewish people here to the Promised Land.
All right, next. So to summarize everything we said, I think it's a special time, and I think if we're ready, God is willing to take that unleavenedness and take the leaven and make us unleavened, if we're willing to ask him. And part of that, I think, is seeing his kingdom, including Israel and more people, like 4 million people and more, to start to pray for Israel on a regular basis. Now, I don't know if we have time before some questions, maybe one last video. Do you have time for one last quick video? Yes, quickly? Okay. What else happened on Passover? One thing else happened on Passover. Giving of gold and silver. Yes. That's like what Cyrus did when he helped the Jewish people to return. Gold and silver was given. You're not going to believe this, but remember I told you how I was given gold? Our family was given gold to get to Israel. Well, Egyptians gave gold and silver next, and check out what's happened in the last years.
In 2015, there was a gentleman that says, I have 10 white trucks that I want to donate to Israel to help the poor. But it came with a condition. You need to challenge Christians to give out of a love for God to bless Israel. So we started a campaign in Western Canada, and in 60 days, we did 100 meetings from West Coast of Canada to East Coast of Canada. And we were asking Christians to help support what God is doing here in Israel. And the most amazing thing happened. We watched Christians not only give money, but they began to give gold and silver. Now, we asked for gold and silver, and we said, well, we thought maybe they would give us the broken necklace. Maybe they would give an earring that was missing its match. Maybe old boyfriend jewelry. But we were blown away. We were literally in awe of what happened. People began to give us their greatest treasure. The only way I could explain it, it was like Moses asking for the Israelites to give gold and silver to build the temple. People gave their heirlooms, their mothers, their parents that have since passed away, their wedding rings. And every night we were seeing all this gold and silver, and people were taking it off their bodies. I can't tell you, Brad, how many people took their wedding rings off and began putting in our hands. And I'm going, does your husband agree with this? Does your wife agree with this? The next thing you know, they would come. It was like a phenomenon that's still happening today. And it happens night after night after night in 2015. And we were left with a challenge. We were just going to melt this gold and silver down for money. But how can you take something that was more valuable than the gold and silver? It was the heart that gave it. It was treasure. So we didn't know what to do. We waited on the Lord for about 3 months. And we sensed the Lord was saying to us, melt the gold down, but turn them into new rings. So what we did is we made what's called restoration rings, and we put on it a passage of scripture out of Jeremiah 30, verse 3, which says, I will restore all things to you. And last September, I brought a delegation of Canadians, almost 80 of us, 77, some Americans as well. And we came to Israel, and we would go, and I would take a Jewish person's hand, and I would take the ring, and I would put it on his finger. Many of them would then all of a sudden give me the hand where they have their wedding ring, and they would put it on here. It was almost like God inside us was saying, I have a new covenant, and I'm proposing. We saw it over and over again. In one meeting we did here, not too far from here in Tiberias, 100 Holocaust survivors came. We put a ring on every Holocaust survivor's finger. The tears that would come down. And we said, we know that these rings were taken off your fingers in Auschwitz and Birkenau. And we're here to say this is just a token of Canadians. Many Canadians love. Because in the end, I have to say, they tell me that retail, we had over $2 million worth of gold and silver given. Melt value is a couple $100,000 if we were to do it. So what we did is we started a new campaign. We said for $500, we will take your gold. You can either give us gold and silver, or you can give us $500 and we'll make this ring. We'll give them pictures and books and tell them why people did this. And we'll put events on in Israel. So we've been starting to do this since last September. Coming this June, it's the 50th anniversary, 50, of Jerusalem. So we're giving them to Holocaust survivors in Jerusalem. And I've got events that I'm even working with Orthodox Jews because they can't believe it. Because they themselves are saying, we haven't seen this since Egypt. We haven't seen it since Babylon. That the Gentiles are again giving gold and silver as the Jewish people make their Aliya, as they make their exodus, as they return. Of course, we're using the funds that come from these things to help support projects such as this. Here at Bet Zera, here at the Aliya Return Center near the Jordan River.
Next. Yeah, so that is something that is happening. It happens frequently that people give gold and silver. In Israel, we do these events at least once a year, pretty frequently. And I'm just going to tell you, here, I just got here not that long ago, quite a bit of gold has been given to me on this trip here in the UK, and it keeps happening. I just say, Lord, what are you doing? What are you doing? Where there's maybe a lot of hate in the world, well, there's a lot of love in the Lord's camp. There's an extravagant love in the Lord's camp. And so I'm just seeing something's happening this Passover. So I invite you to come and work together with us. Come and join us in this prayer with us. Come visit us. Come to the prayer house. Some of you have already. Come check it out. Come see for yourself. Come and let's just prepare the way of the Lord. And really, I challenge you to read one of these a day. One a day. You're going to suddenly say, hey, I didn't really realize that this is so important to God, and I want to be part of it. So I'm just going to pray, and if you want to ask questions or whatever, Lord, we just thank you for this time of being unleavened. For some of us, that's going to be denying one thing or another. But we just want to enter in, Lord, to a deeper understanding of your kingdom and what you're doing in Israel, Lord. Bring in Jewish people. It says they're going to come back with the heart of stone. Ezekiel 36 says then, after they're back in the land, and then you will take out the heart of stone and put a heart of flesh, and your spirit you will put within them. Yes, and you'll cleanse the land from iniquity. We just thank you that you'll just bless Israel. You plan to do that even now in this hard time. Help the land of Israel, Lord. Help us, Lord. Help us in this time, and bless the UK. Thank you for the mantle over this land that I believe still rests. Mantle of Cyrus. In Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. Praise the Lord. So any questions? You can skip to the next thing. If you want. Any questions anyone has? Maybe that went a little longer than you're used to, but this is where you go if you want to join us 24/7. We started this on Passover, so that's 24/7 prayer. Started on Passover 2 years ago. So now it's altar of prayer. If you're in the Galilee, you just come to Vertical Galilee House of Prayer. So any questions by anybody? Yeah.
Not really a question, but I just find it amazing because Israel is so expensive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just so expensive, and the way that, God keeps people there that
Yeah.
do nothing. And it's just so expensive. I mean,
Yes.
talk about a cheap place.
Yeah. Yeah, I went there. It's on Forbes. Tel Aviv's listed as the most, or was listed as the most expensive city in the world.